Hi, everybody, and welcome to Flume Stream Entertainment Network for Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. My name's Matt Buto. This is Brent Coble. We're here to talk about soccer. Brent, we have a big day coming up this Saturday. White Mountains Regional, Homecoming, Berlin's coming to town, our first field hockey game. What do you think?
Exciting, Matt. Really looking forward to it. Two soccer games and a field hockey game. The first field hockey game Flume's covering. We're going to go do some homework the next couple of days on some field hockey rules and make sure we know what's going on when we get to the game.
Yeah, that's going to be our homework for the week, making sure that we know at least a little bit about what we're talking about. I know that Jen Glamputo will be joining us to help us out a little bit. But I'm excited. We have Craig Melanson, the Berlin High School Athletic Director, joining us today. We have Rick Bedell as our special guest, who's been part of the show, who's going to share some thoughts on White Mountains Regional. You and I could talk about these things for hours. We're lucky to have those two guys join us today and share some of their thoughts.
Oh no, that's correct, Matt. Both those guys' knowledge and wisdom and years they've been around. Both Rick for the White Mountains programs and Craig obviously in Berlin. Those guys, they're great to have.
And it's riddled in the communities here. It's bigger than a game. It's bigger than a score. These communities are passionate. The fans are passionate. White Mountains Regional will have an advantage just being at home and having maybe 100 plus people around those fields watching, cheering them on. That sometimes is my favorite part, especially as a referee or as a announcer. Like we go to these games and they're packed.
Sure, yeah, builds a great atmosphere for the game itself, and as you said, both teams are going to be up for all these games as the rivalry from Berlin and White Mountains, the only two D3 schools in the North Country. Been a long rivalry. Even when Berlin was D2, we were still rivals with them. Looking forward to the whole full day of events there at the regional, and they put on a good show up there. Sometimes they even have DJs there playing music in the background all day long, and the food, and just looking forward to the whole day affair.
Homecoming is in the air. There's going to be parades, all kinds of things that are going on. We get the luxury of covering this one, two rival teams, two Division III teams, the only Division III teams in the North Country. We have Craig Melanson coming in, who is the athletic director, former coach, soccer coach. He's going to be sharing his thoughts. We have Rick Bedell that's coming in to share his thoughts. I'm excited. You're excited. But we're going to take a quick break. And while we do that, we're going to watch some old footage of games that we've covered between the Spartans and the Mountaineers and get us ready for what's coming on Saturday. We'll be right back.
joy look like? At Santa's Village, it looks a lot like this. Visit a world of pure joy that's closer than you think, where it's always the season for smiles, for laughs, for family, for reindeer roller coasters and cookies. For a day packed with so much fun, you'll know exactly what joy looks like. Santa's Village, pure joy, family style.
Covering you at home, at work, and at play, George M. Stevens Insurance is the only local agency to offer personal and commercial insurance, as well as health, life, and financial services. With offices throughout the North Country, we service your complete insurance needs. As a trusted choice insurance agency, we research coverage options from the nation's top companies to ensure that your policy works for you. George M. Stevens Insurance, protecting New Hampshire and Vermont since 1882.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Flume Stream Entertainment Network. This is Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. Brent's here to my side. We have a special guest today, Berlin High School Athletic Director Craig Melanson. Craig, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
Craig, we're covering all three of the homecoming games over White Mountains Regional, and wondering if you could share some thoughts on, I guess, the season in general and your thoughts on the games that are upcoming.
Yeah, sure. Obviously last year, we'll start with the boys soccer team. They graduated a pretty heavy class of seniors. But it's been a transitional year. We have a brand new coach, first-year coach Travis School, who stepped in and is doing a phenomenal job with the program. Anytime you're a first-year coach coming in, there seems to be some trials and tribulations throughout the course of it. But he's doing a good job. The kids are responding to him. Obviously with this, the upperclassmen this year, it's kind of a learning curve for them because, like I said, we graduated such a senior-heavy class last year that these kids are learning not only to become better athletes but also better leaders too. So I think things are sorting out. They've won the games they've had to. They've competed in the games that they came in second place for. So I think as the season goes on and the commitment and practicing in games are just going to be that much better. We have a very talented class. We have we have three freshmen starting. We have Boyd Poulin, Dylan Bushy, and Hudson Goulette, who are impact players. Boyd Poulin is our leading goal scorer right now at this time. So, and Dylan Bushy's been coming on pretty strong of late as well. Girls soccer, also a new head coach, Holly Muntz and Amy Drapo. They took over the reins from Al Woodward last year. And we have a lot of new girls playing soccer for the first time. So, with that type of thing coming into the high school, they've really had to break down the game. I get to see them play at home. So they went on a little spurt there where they were on the road for about 2 weeks and getting them to see, this past or the end of last week play, they've come a long ways. So, they're getting better. I think they're right in the mix right now for the playoffs, so hopefully they can keep it rolling and do all right. Field hockey team, Nikki Agwin's team, we had some girls that were unhealthy last year. One of them was being Sienna Langley. She was hurt all last year with a hamstring injury. This year, she's not injured, and she's having I don't want to say a breakout year because she was unbelievable her freshman year, but it seems like she's leaving off right where she was from her freshman year. She had a great year last year, don't get me wrong, but I think that the injuries just kind of hampered her. So she's been turning it on, and the games that they've lost, are against top 5 teams. Newfound, Mascoma, teams like that. So I think they're very competitive. We still have our starting goalkeeper, Luminita Berry, who was pretty much lights out last year for us. So she's coming on strong again, and we have a whole new batch of also freshmen. Emma Rainclose is one standout that I've seen out there quite a bit, and the rest of the freshman crew are definitely contributing to the action. Cross country, Bob Lord. He's low on numbers this year, but the kids that we have are doing outstanding. Maya Wedge is probably our top female runner. She did a PR the other day in Belmont, which Bob Lord told me, and about could have been a 5-minute conversation, ended up being about an hour and a half. He was saying that it was probably her best race that she's running. She finished in the top 22 out of 100 and something runners. So so that's promising. So fall season is going pretty well. I can't complain about anything really. It was a great kickoff to the school year, and hopefully the Mountaineers can just keep it rolling. Come postseason.
Now, Craig, this weekend they're coming down to White Mountains Regional, playing the Spartans. I think we all know, Brent sitting here next to me, we all know that regardless of the standings, regardless of the records, that this is going to be a battle for all 3 teams.
Oh, absolutely. I think White Mountains and Berlin has a great rivalry. Pick a sport, and it's always going to be a competitive game. Kids give 110%. Field hockey game, I think down there last year was an overtime win for us. And then girls soccer and also boys soccer. So it's tight games, that's what you want. And I think that's what's going to probably happen again this weekend. So we're just hoping that we can come in on top and spoil their homecoming, but it's not going to be an easy task, that's for sure.
Now, I'm looking at your coaches, and, I want to give them a shout-out, Craig, because everybody responded to an email asking for some details for the upcoming game. I received an email from Holly Muntz, and this is her first year, and she said, you know what, it's back to basics. It's working on the team mentality, hard working, and really building up that team, which is impressive to me. And then knowing Amy Drapo, who is also new this year or new to the position, they're invested, they're passionate, and they know it's more than just putting the ball in the back of the net.
Oh, absolutely. Any successful team, you can have the best athletes in the state, but if you don't have team chemistry, you're not going to accomplish anything. Pick a sport. Those teams that are state championship teams. I know White Mountains has had a few teams, especially with baseball and softball. And you can talk to the Hicks brothers. I'm sure the reason why they were so successful wasn't just on their talent, but also because of the fact that they had great team chemistry. We saw that with our boys ice hockey program over the last 3 years. It's good team chemistry. You can have the athletes, but if you don't have the team chemistry, you're not going to really get too far, that's for sure. And I'm glad that Holly is recognizing that, Coach Muntz, because she realizes how important it is,
Yeah, and when it comes to that program development, that player development, that's huge. I got to give a shout out to Travis Houle, too. As you know, we spent some time in the soccer field in the summer, and I was looking for some opportunities for my summer soccer team to learn from high school players. I emailed Travis and said, Travis, can you come down and help us out? He sent down about 10 players. I was watching my son practice this week, and when practice finished, he came over and said, hey, me and my friend did the same stretches that we did when the high school players came over and spent some time with us. Again, a new coach, but clearly understands that there's more important things to developing a team than, again, just putting the ball in the back of the net.
Oh, absolutely. He's I don't want to call him a kid. I had Travis when I coached Travis before I got done with it. And, he gets it. He gets it. He enjoyed his high school career when playing sports, because he had a lot of those teams where, it's more than just showing up to practice and games. I mean, the kids get together for spaghetti dinners. They're doing fires. They're doing, and that's all of our programs this year. So I think it's pretty cool. You see a bunch of kids coming together after practice, hanging out by a fire and eating spaghetti and doing those type of things. It's, you get to see the kids in a different light rather than just blowing the whistle at them and tell them to get on the line and things like that. So I think that's very important, and I'm glad my coaching staff feels it's very important, because that's something that we preach.
Now, speaking of your coaching staff, Nikki Arguin, one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in New Hampshire, has been doing this a long time. Has won a lot of games, won a lot of playoff games, several championship games. What are your thoughts on her team and her coach?
Yeah, just Nikki and her husband Paul coach our team, and Nikki's been doing this for over 20 years. So if you're talking about stuff with just kind of the mental part of the game and doing things the right way and dealing in terms of, doing those things, the get-togethers. She had salad parties, they do a Halloween party, so she really grasps that stuff and then morphs it into the game of field hockey. So, she really works hard on the mental piece of it. And, like I said, I mean, pick a sport, pick a level of play. If you don't have the mental capacity to compete day in and day out and try to at least bring your best game, it's not just physically, but getting over the hump mentally, especially when those crunch time comes. And we know that Coach Arguin has been in a ton of those close games, and they've come out on top just because of the fact that she does those little things that sometimes a lot of coaches kind of overlook. Attention to detail is key, and she definitely over her career has really taken on to be one of the better coaches in the state of New Hampshire. Absolutely.
Hey, Craig, Brent here.
Hey, Brent.
I am really looking forward to the field hockey game. I think it's going to be a very competitive type match. And this will be Flume Media's first coverage of a field hockey game, so another exciting moment there. But I guess my question is, these two coaches have been battling for quite a few years. And have they ever met in the championship?
No, they have never met in the championship. In my career, and I've been doing this job, this is my 17th year, we've never faced White Mountain in the championship.
Okay. Just curious about that.
And the thing is, like you guys were when we were having a little conversation before, it's throw records, and when you're talking about homecoming games and things like that, you take the records, you throw them right out the window. It's a pride thing of the North Country, and it's they want it just as bad as us, and White Mountain's having a good season too. I mean, they're battling out there, and they're winning games too. So the hard work, and I know the White Mountain coach over there does a ton of stuff during the summer. I know the AD Kerry Brady works with the goalies and things like that. So they have a good thing going over there, and they've really been working hard to making sure that their program is very respectful, and it is. I know that Coach Arguin, we got canceled from Bishop Brady today, and it was just switch gears, go right to White Mountain, because she knows that they're going to bring it on Saturday. So.
Absolutely.
So, Craig, we have a big battle on our hands. We have 3 games that we're covering. Feel free to stop by and visit us to share some more thoughts. That was Craig Melanson, the Berlin High School Athletic Director. Thank you for joining us, Craig, and we'll see you on Saturday.
All right, sounds good, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Craig.
And there you have it. This is Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. And next, Brent, we're going to be talking about White Mountains Regional, and Rick Bedell will be joining us to share his thoughts. We'll be right back.
I used to think college was for other people, but after a lot of hard work and thanks to an incredible support system, now I know I'm exactly where I need to be.
just like you means when I walk into the bank, I feel like home. I feel like this is home.
It's a family. It's just small like me, but it's good like me.
Just like you, I know I have the support of the bank, and my clients have the support of the bank. And to me, that just has extreme value.
Hi there, I'm Chuck Lloyd, president at White Mountains Community College, just talking to you a little bit about our college. We've been here since 1965. We've got 3 locations in Berlin, Littleton, and North Conway, and we're also online. We have a lot of technical programs, and we have a lot of online, remote, synchronous, asynchronous, whatever works best for your schedule. We are the only higher ed institution in New Hampshire above the notches. And what that means for us is we've got to be all things to all people. And we aim to try to do that by responding to workforce needs, industry and business, and partner locally with the needs of our communities. We could not be more excited to host new students coming in January.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Flume Stream Entertainment Network. This is Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. I get Brent over here, and I have a special guest, but not new to the show, Rick Bedell, to join us for our White Mountains Regional High School Spartans coverage for this Saturday's homecoming game. Rick, welcome back.
Hey, appreciate it. Glad to be here, and hopefully I can give you guys a few little insight on Saturday's game.
Sounds good. Now, Berlin's coming to town, and like we were saying with Craig Melanson, doesn't matter the score, doesn't matter the record, it doesn't matter. Really nothing matters but that game in particular. The only 2 Division III teams up here, it's going to be a battle.
Yeah, as you said, it's going to be a battle. Berlin's always comes in, they come in tough. Old blue-collar, Milltown. Whether it's girls, boys, doesn't matter the sport, field hockey, soccer, basketball, hockey, they're always going to bring it. So it'll definitely be an exciting match, and I'm looking forward to be there to watch that game.
Now let's talk about being at home, especially for these 2 teams, where they're, the people in attendance, the families, the parents, the crowd is kind of that 12th person, if you will. Sure. That's always it's always significant, but it seems to be more significant when you play some of these North Country teams. You go over to Berlin, you go to White Mountains Regional, places are packed, people are cheering people on. It's helpful.
It is, because the town has a lot of pride. Whether it's Berlin, whether it's the White Mountain community, everybody wants to see the teams do well. So certainly having that support from the community, the friends, family, some of the alumni coming back. They were supposed to have a parade today, but I think that got canceled because of weather. I already heard that. That's too bad. They got the bonfire tomorrow night. That's always, brings the school community together and gets everybody kind of fired up. The dance and everything's going to follow Saturday. So, yeah, it's something that everybody in the community looks forward to on these homecoming weekends.
And as Matt was saying, Rick, both these teams travel well when they go places. I'm sure Berlin's going to bring an army of support with them.
Yeah, definitely.
And this how they have this set up now with the field hockey and both soccer games. It's a day-long event.
Sure.
And lots of people in and out, and it's great to see all the people and the support that they do get over there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. Usually there's food on hand. I think North Country Ford is usually there. I'm not sure if they're there this year. Usually you can test drive a car, and they kick back a little bit money to the school athletic program. Hopefully that's going on. That was always successful in years past. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not sure. But no, it's going to be a battle. White Mountains has been having kind of I think they won the other day. They beat Colebrook 5-2, something like that. I think Colebrook's probably competitive. White Mountains has run into some powerhouses out there. I saw them play Guilford. I think they lost Guilford 7-8-0. I saw St. Thomas Aquinas came into town. I think it was 8-0 by the 25th minute or something. And St. Thomas Aquinas coach called off he got plenty of playing time for his bench. Let's just say that. So, maybe a little bit of an off year this year for White Mountains. I haven't seen Berlin play, but like you said, throw the records out, and it's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be a very competitive match tomorrow, Saturday.
Now, speaking of the girls varsity soccer game, just a quick shout out. There's a player on the team. You may know her. Her name's Emerson Bedell.
Emerson Bedell, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
so
yeah. She's doing all right. They Coach Welch kind of stuck her. She's in a position that suits her well. She's back there playing sweeper, so she doesn't have to run much. She enjoys that.
enjoys
Yes.
that, yeah.
Not having to run. So, but no, she's been playing well. She's kind of stepped it up. I think that's a position that suits her. She sees the field well. She's always been a good distributor of the ball. She's very vocal back there, talking to her teammates, kind of taking control of that defense. They're trying to run a little bit of a trap. Again, in experience, they're still working on that. As you know, Brent, that was the famous, when you were coaching there, you loved to run that trap.
I love the trap.
Yeah, you love the trap. So they're trying to work on that. It's a grind. They're working on it. They've had some injuries. Tara St. Cyr, their main goalie's been out. I think maybe concussion protocol. I don't know if she actually had a concussion, but they were just being cautious and keeping her out. Maddie Loren, she's been sick. I think last week we had a game over in Littleton, and they were competitive, but only had one sub that day. So they've been fighting those battles that tight. So, come Saturday, hey, hopefully we get some. Hopefully we get. I think Tara's supposed to be back in net. Maybe we get a Maddie Lorenz back. I'm not sure. Hopefully she feels better. There's definitely there's some talent there with Josie and Emma up front. I mean, they can get things going. They can hopefully put the ball in the net and make a competitive game of it on Saturday.
Now, Rick, is there a numbers problem at the regional this year?
I would say so. Not enough for JV this year. That's you gotta love White Mountains D3 school. They offer a lot, But then again, you get cross country, you get soccer, you get field hockey. It's probably some great athletes on and no doubt some great athletes on field hockey that would would be welcomed on the soccer field. But hey, that's kudos to a D3 school by White Mountains and offering a lot of programs both academically and sports. So the kids have
Absolutely.
Kids have a lot of opportunities out there, so I'm not going to knock that. It's just, it's the way it is,
And it's like that most places around the North Country right now.
Yeah.
I was just curious if they had a JV program this year. And
yeah, just not enough numbers. Yeah. It's not happening. So that makes it tough. And but hopefully, with the Coloneltown and the Whitefield Rec, hopefully, those numbers come back over here in the next, 4, 5, 6 years. So.
Now, those two teams, White Mountains Regional, according to NHIA websites, 2-5-0, and Berlin's 3-4-0. If you actually look at the standings, there's not many games that separate the two, and there's really not many games that separate, between the top 10. So you could win one or two of these games, 3 or 4, and still be in the mix of it and still be a competitive team. This girls' team in particular, they have 7 freshmen.
Yeah.
Now, when they're freshmen, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but when they're freshmen, you're like, man, we have 7 freshmen. But when they're seniors, they're like, wow, we have 7 seniors.
Yeah. So that's a big difference right there. All that experience and pays off, and that's a big intangible in these big games. So, some inexperience, but. What do we got? What'd you say? 2-5, 7 games this year. So they're about halfway through the season. So they got to start winning some games if they want to sneak into the playoffs. Both teams, both programs do. And this is going to be a big battle Saturday. So whoever comes out of this on top is definitely that much closer to making a playoff, getting a playoff bid.
Now, Rick, this will be our first coverage of a field hockey game. You couldn't find a better game to cover. Berlin, White Mountains Regional. Just the rivalry itself. The Berlin field hockey team historically has been very good.
Mm-hmm.
Championship games. A little more evenly matched this year. We're excited to cover it, but I'm guessing with what we see in the girls soccer team and the boys soccer team, you see a lot of that in the field hockey team.
Yeah. I thought you guys were going to comment there how your great commenting skills are going to be on field hockey. I mean, I've never I can't remember the last time I watched a field hockey. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, that's going to be a battle. That's going to be that's going to be a big game. Coach Labounty and coach from Berlin, they've been
Nick
going.
Yarwood,
yeah, Berlin's had a great program there. Janine's had a great program here at White Mountains. So seems to be they've been having the feeder program. I don't know if they combine some Lancaster Whitefield kids at the junior high.
At the junior high
They're
level,
still
yeah.
playing. They're still doing well there. So it's that's going to be an exciting game, and maybe they meet again in the playoffs. Maybe it's down for a state championship. Wouldn't that be something? The two D3 schools in the North Country traveling down to wherever they play, Concord or South somewhere. So definitely Saturday could be a preview of a hotly contested playoff match here next month. So.
Now, we can't promise that we're going to. Actually, Jen Gallant-Buteau will be joining us during that game. She's a Berlin High School field hockey alumni, or as we'll be referring to her, the person who knows
what's going on.
What's going on in the field.
What was that whistle for?
Yeah,
I know the whistle gets blown quite a bit.
So she'll be joining us to keep us on track.
Right. Good.
This boys soccer team, again, records out the window. None of this matters. What matters is Saturday. It's a team that is, I think they're in 19th place according to NHIA. Again, that doesn't matter. They have 11 juniors. They have 11 freshmen. And it was a competitive game against Newfound, and they won. And there was a competitive game for Berlin against Newfound, and Berlin won. I don't know if we can put much stock in that, but that seems to be the litmus test for us, kind of comparing those two teams and how they played against them.
Yeah, starting to get here midway through the season, so sounds like the boys have got to start finding something, getting their legs underneath them, finding somebody to put it in the back of the net. I haven't watched any of the boys' game, but I'm guessing got to find some. You mentioned team chemistry there a little earlier. Maybe it's some more spaghetti dinners. Maybe it's Coach Klisch maybe stepping away and letting some of the boys have some conversations and need some things worked out. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm just guessing, guys. I don't know. Usually, there's some talent there.
And as you said earlier, Rick, these D3 schools, White Mountains offers golf.
That's true, yeah.
And there's a lot of good soccer players that are playing golf, that are golfers now. So it kind of breaks. It takes some athletes away, as you said before.
Would one of those be Noah Koval?
Noah Koval, Robert Brault, Carter Deming. There's
right.
quite a few
That's true,
that
yeah.
would make an impact on the soccer field.
Right. Forget about golf. So there you go. There's another sport that's taken some good, kudos to a D3 school like White Mountains by able to offer another sport in golf. But again, that could be those 3 or 4 players that would put that soccer team over the hump, so to speak, and turn them. They could be 6-2 now instead of 2-6 or something like that. So.
It happens up in Berlin too, where you have a basketball team and an ice hockey team.
Sure.
And you have ice hockey players, you have basketball players, and I'm sure both programs are impacted.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, I can remember years ago I was down to roughing a game down in West. I think I was down in Manchester West, and it was a jamboree. It was I think it was Central versus Nashville. Anyways, I remember I was talking to the Central coach after the game. It was preseason, and he was talking to me. He's like, "It's a tough day. I got to make some cuts today." And I got talking to him like, how many kids did you have at tryouts? I had 100.
Wow.
100 kids came out and tried. This is Manchester Central, who has football, cross country, golf. And he still had
100 kids.
Still had it. And of course, he narrowed it down probably to 15 or so seniors that were going to play, and so kind of puts things in perspective up here with lucky if the senior classes at White Mountains and Berlin have 100 kids in them, at all.
Exactly.
And here
exactly.
this guy's, this coach was getting 100 kids coming out for soccer, and so. Puts it in perspective. Again, I guess it shows what White Mountains and Berlin and these smaller schools can offer big time programs. So.
One last observation I wanted to get both of your thoughts on. This Spartans boys soccer team has 11 juniors and 11 freshmen and 2 seniors. I'm not sure I ever saw anything like that.
Yeah,
where it's
11 and 2. Yeah.
I don't know if that's just a matter of interest or that's a matter of development.
I don't know. What do you think on that, Brent? You coach. You kind of what are you thinking on that?
I see 11 juniors. I'm thinking that's a strong team.
Right.
What do you think?
I mean, typically you would think that, but obviously soccer takes 11 people to play on the field. And I don't know the commitment level of those juniors throughout the summer. Speaking from experience, back when I played, we played all summer long. We played winter. We played throughout the other sports. Soccer was one of those things that, you can play inside in the winter and you keep developing your skills. But the 11 freshmen, as a coach, I'm in la-la land with that, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know there's the next year or two, there's a lot of boy athletes coming up from the younger levels.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you touched on that because I wanted to speak on this about White Mountains and, going back to a kid that graduated last year, Tyler Hicks, and, and even a couple years before that with Griffin Crane and Braxton Brown. I believe those kids and the success they've had has created a love for baseball and the other sports that, is great for the younger generation. They're growing up idolizing kids. They want to be like those kids. And Tyler Hicks is one of the greatest kids I've ever met. He'll take his shirt off his back for you to help at any given time. But I think that, that's a huge thing especially in this community to have local heroes, so to speak, and to look up to and want to be someday.
Yeah.
They raise good athletes, but most importantly, they raise good people.
Absolutely.
That's the
And
important
all
thing
the,
right
like
there.
you said, all these 5th and 6th graders, and we see Tyler Hicks on the baseball field, and they're professional, they're respectful, and they're competitors, and they are fired up. And it's really good to see. You don't see it all the time. In this community, especially, it's huge.
Yeah, and the work ethic that goes,
It just wasn't natural. Tyler put in
no,
a
that's
lot
not
of-
natural, right?
It is some natural, but there's a lot of hard work that goes in
Absolutely.
behind the scenes you're not seeing, probably.
Absolutely, no, and I know my son got on his weightlifting program that he'd been doing for the last 4 years, and just stuff like that makes a difference. My son still talks about Tyler and his leadership skills, and that may be something this year at the regional boys wise that they don't have per se leader. It's always with 11 juniors and 11 freshmen. I'm not sure the 2 seniors, are they the captains? I'm not sure. But you need those guys. Every team needs those guys, and that's how the chemistry is started.
A quick story about Tyler Hicks. I'm still unable to completely straighten out my index finger from a foul ball strike this past baseball season. He can pitch.
Yeah,
He can pitch.
maybe he threw an 86 mile an hour changeup on that pit. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like it. It felt like
Probably-
106 miles.
Probably felt like his 93 mile an hour
Yeah.
fastball. Yeah.
But thank you guys for sharing that because I know that that's important for both of these communities. You see it in Berlin, you see it in White Mountains Regional, and they're competitive. They may not win championship games all the time. Sometimes they do, but they typically will put a quality team together.
Definitely.
And try at least to focus on feeder programs, and then give everybody the opportunity to win.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
So we're going to be covering these games on Saturday. We hope to see you there.
I'll be there. I'll definitely be there, a spectator for the girls' game. Looking forward to that. 1 p.m. Saturday. Watching that Emmy Bedell play some strong sweeper.
And I'm glad that Emmy has a dad that she can go home to and talk about all the rules and get your input and feedback.
Yeah. She loves to do that. Yeah.
Any last words before we finish up?
No, just looking forward to a competitive match on Saturday, and wish all the best of luck to both teams, Berlin and White Mountains. So, yeah, no injuries, and hopefully I'm sure we'll see a great game.
Yeah, hopefully it's a great day, and I'm sure it's going to be full day of events.
Yeah, I can't wait. A whole day, first field hockey game. I'm excited. We're ready to go. Rick Bedell, thank you for joining us.
Oh, pleasure.
Friend
pleasure.
of the show, alumni of the show. Always open invitation to come over and join us.
Okay.
That's Brent, and I'm Matt, and this is Sports Talk. We're on Flume Stream Entertainment Network. We'll see you on Saturday. Take care.